Welcome to the family with
Alex Bernard Rasmussen.
Hackmaster Ralph W. Basham, MD.
Andy Brant Bernard.
Co-host Catherine Brandt.
There it is.
you jumped in at the very end, did
Look
you?
at me jumping in.
No question about it. Oh, we got some guests today. We got very special guests coming up in 5 minutes. We got Tim Lammers coming on. We got all kinds of stuff on today. Right?
Nice.
Yes.
Okay,
Wonderful
so
day.
I have to ask you a question. This is from Wise Brother. Do you think you're cool? Most Americans say, yes, I am cool.
I am definitely not cool.
I used to think I was cool. I've definitely I'm not cool anymore.
What's
So
better, being cool or being hip?
I
What is hip? Tell me.
think I might be the bee's knees.
Yeah, the bee's knees.
Possibly
That's
swell.
exactly what I want.
Yeah.
I think I'm cool.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, what's cool though? I mean, cool means different things to different people, and it's a very demographic thing.
Yeah.
Like
what's-
generational. Like what's cool to the average 12-year-old right now? It's definitely
that's
none
true.
of us.
Yeah, like I think I'm as a 35-year-old mom, I think I'm pretty cool. Like I
In
wear
the
I
mamasphere.
wear like trendy, fun clothes, but not like the desperate, sad way. I hope
Right.
you know where how you see people that you're dressing too young. This is sad.
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
I
My
toe
school was
that-
20 years ago.
Yeah, I
sorry.
hope I toe that line of like, okay, I'm like I know what's going on and I dress in a fun way, but not sad.
In a person's life, you only get to wear mini skirts once.
Mm.
Yeah,
The next time they come around,
No.
you're too old.
Yeah.
Well, no. By the time you're in your 80s, you can wear them again. People
Yeah.
just think you have
Oh,
dementia.
God.
but
You know, whatever you
know,
want.
You can
No,
do it.
you
Wear
can't.
whatever you want.
No,
Spending so much time in Florida, a lot of people wear
Yep.
like stuff that you would never see people wear up north
Yep.
because it's just hot. It's hot.
Well, yeah, when it's
so they
100
just don't
degrees
care.
and 90%
Oh, yeah.
humidity.
Yeah,
When
the
I'm
arm
in-
flaps are going, they don't care. They don't.
When
care.
I am in Orlando in July for a dance competition this
Yeah.
summer, I will be wearing
Just wearing a suit made of ice.
like literally as little as I possibly can because
Right.
it's going to be 1,000 degrees. So
Sometimes
it
it's
just is what
survival.
it is.
So I had an interesting experience this morning. I brought up on the morning show. I go for a walk every morning. I walk 3.5 miles in the morning and 3.5 miles midday, and then about a mile we walk Judy. So I get somewhere between 7 and 8 miles in every day. And they're setting up for the boat show down on the Intercoastal.
It's a big deal.
It's a very, very
Oh,
huge
yeah,
deal.
Huge deal.
So I'm walking there. You can still walk on the sidewalk. There are kinds of. Oh, did you walk Jude already?
I took him down on the college campus
Oh,
because
you
I
did?
didn't
Okay.
want to mess with all that noise and
Well, all the cars are parked up on the sidewalk and
yeah,
all that stuff
I
over
just-
there. So
yeah, I just went down on the campus.
So I'm walking along there, and this young Spanish woman comes up to me, and she goes, "Can I talk to you for a second?" She's got a little bit of an accent, which I won't even try to do, but I said, "Yeah, sure." She's a very attractive young woman. She's probably around 30, maybe, something like that. She goes, I need a favor. She said, I've seen the last few days you go for a walk every morning, don't you? And I said, yes, I do. She goes, yeah, I've seen you every morning. I'd like to ask you for a favor. And I said, okay, what's the favor? And she said, would you beat up my boss? I said, what? She goes, yes, I want you. Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, because he's only about this tall. He's not anywhere near as big as you.
Well, then why don't you beat him up?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
drag me into
beat-upable.
your drama.
So she says that she's trying to
Man.
talk me into beating up her boss. And I said, but wouldn't he know that you're the one who got him beat up? Oh, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about a thing. I said, well, let me think about it. Now, I'll get back to you later. She goes, okay, Poppy.
Ooh.
She wants me to beat up her boss.
Is she related to Griselda?
Yeah, kind of Griselda-like, I would say.
Seems kind of.
By the way, Catherine and I watched the promo for the actual Griselda. Killed 120 people.
At least.
At least 120
least.
people.
I need to watch that at some point.
You know,
Oh,
it's
it's
interesting
phenomenal.
because the one with Sofia Vergara,
Vergara.
Vergara.
it almost seemed like Griselda didn't really like to kill people. It made her
Oh,
sad.
boy. He's a sympathetic figure.
I've just got such a
Yep.
it's such a hardship to kill people.
Yeah.
I
My
feel
life is so
terrible
hard,
about-
I'm forced to become a mass
yeah,
murderer.
yeah. Apparently, she was
Not my
just
choice.
killing everybody left and right.
But I will tell you this: Sofia Vergara. You remember her from what was the name of that show she was on?
Modern
Again?
Modern Family.
Modern Family. She's on Modern Family. The real Griselda doesn't look anything like Sofia Vergara. I will tell you that.
No.
She is incredibly homely. She's got the head the size of a watermelon, for Christ's sake. Her head is
All
huge.
right.
Well, it is. Got
Leave
a gigantic
Griselda
noggin.
alone. She might have ancestors around here. Stop. Stop.
Maybe that's who she wanted me.
Actually,
they wanted
her
me to
son is in Miami.
He's in Miami,
He's
yeah.
doing a show.
Kill. Yep.
We tried to watch it. It was not very good.
They canceled it already.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't very good.
Yeah, it was canceled.
He's trying to do a
It's terrible.
clothing line or something.
Yeah.
And I guess he was in the business. It's her only remaining son. Everybody else got murdered. Because
Everybody
of
else is murdered. You know what
drug
his
trade.
name is, by the way? The one remaining living person from that family. You know what his name is?
Griseldo?
Nope. You ready?
No.
She
I mean,
named him, his legal name is Michael Corleone.
Oh,
Oh
that's
my God.
You know, why not?
Seems like she had a thing for
For
certain
gangsters.
aspects of society.
Yeah.
well. I mean, she got into an industry that was open to her, kind of.
Yep.
Yeah.
We have Scott on the phone.
All right.
Scott is ready. Scott, what are you doing?
Right now, we're in Motel 6. We had some camper issues.
Uh-oh.
So we're here until at least tomorrow. We got a mobile RV guy's gonna put a new axle on our RV and some springs, and so hopefully we'll be ready to go again Thursday.
And Katie said that you had an axe. Oh, okay. Does everybody know? Well, Scott is riding. How many miles have you put in on your bicycle?
I'm over 7,000. I'm getting close to 7,200 now.
Wow. And you had a crash?
Yeah, I had a crash just coming just into California, Raleigh, California. I went over the handlebars and hit a guardrail.
Oh,
Oh, ass over tea kettle.
Yeah, and so ended up with ambulance ride to the Raleigh hospital. It's not the best hospital in the world, in rural California. So I ended up waiting there all day, and I ended up with 7 stitches and a concussion.
What?
So then, the next day I wanted to get back on the bike again. Just, you fall off the horse, you got to get back on. And so that's what we did. We shortened the ride, finished the ride that I was on the day before, basically, and continued on the way with a sore face. And
Yeah. Are
a
you
minor
okay?
concussion.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm fine now. It'll definitely leave a mark. I'll have a scar from that one for sure.
God, it's so amazing. Now, for people that may not, how long ago was it that you and your wife appeared in studio with us?
Summer,
Boy,
wasn't it?
no, that had to be, I want to say 4 months ago,
That sounds
or
right.
more.
Or more than that. I think we were back. This is Katie. Hi. We were
Hi,
back.
Katie.
Hi, Katie.
How are you guys doing?
Marvelous.
Great.
So was it summertime? You think it was about 9 months ago, something like that, Katie?
Yeah, it was like last fall when we were back in September. That was for his Mayo visit and my daughter's wedding. And that's
Oh,
when
that's right.
So, yeah, late September, early October, right around then.
Well, I'm glad you're both on.
Yeah.
So to remind everybody what's going on,
Yes.
you guys want to say what your mission is here?
Yeah, our mission is to raise awareness and funds for both prostate cancer and schizophrenia, 2 things that have impacted my life. I myself have stage 4 prostate cancer, and I lost my son to suicide. And I found out after that he had schizophrenia. So strong why as far as why we're doing it. So that kind of drives me, I guess, gets me
Sure.
back on the bike after hitting the guardrail. So
Right.
Right.
And how many miles are you planning on doing?
it'll be about 10 to 11,000, right in that range.
All right.
God, you're almost there comparatively.
Yeah. we're definitely, on, probably the last quarter of it, I would guess. So.
Wow.
It's hard to believe, we were on the East Coast when we last talked to you. I mean, so the end of June is when we started. We went from Minnesota to Maine, down to Florida, across the southern tier to California, and now he's his way up the West Coast to Washington and then back to Minnesota. We anticipate being back for him to ride into Itasca State Park on June 15th.
Yeah.
So far, besides biking over 7,000 miles, we've reached many new people about the awareness of early detection, because Scott had 0 symptoms when he was diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer. So we're really encouraging people to pledge to get their PSA tested. We've also we've also between the two charities raised about $200,000 at this point.
Oh,
so,
good for
we've
you.
a lot
That's
of effort.
wonderful.
Yeah, we're really excited about that, and we're not done. We've got a few more months to make the most impact that we possibly can.
And how do people donate?
They can go online to the website, milesformoney.org, and there's 2 links there. One is the link that takes them to the nonprofit 501c3, which is Zero Prostate Cancer, and the other takes them to Schizophrenia and Psychosis Action Alliance. They can choose one or both charities to donate, but it's milesformoney.org.
I think it's one. Now, where is Itasca State Park?
It's northern Minnesota.
Well, I know it's in north, but
Yeah.
like where?
It's near Park
It's
Rapids,
north
right?
of, north of Park Rapids, because we started this journey in Nevis, Minnesota, which is right near Park Rapids. That's where our home is, and Scott wanted to finish it in Itasca State Park, and it's pretty exciting. We have met people across the country that are planning on coming into Minnesota to do that final ride-in with him for that last 10 miles.
How about 2 miles?
Yeah.
That's fine.
So that's June 15th.
Everybody.
And how long a drive is it from the Twin Cities up to Park Rapids? Is it about 3.5 hours, something like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's 3 probably to Park Rapids, probably about 3.5 to Itasca State Park. And it's a Saturday. We're doing it on Father's Day weekend because we also want to really encourage men. We just got back actually from Washington, D.C., where Scott and I were advocating with other Zero Prostate Cancer advocates, meeting with legislators to talk to them about having some parity. Right now, believe it or not, for women, anybody can get a mammogram and have no copay, and it's encouraged from the age of 40 on. There is not a similar parity for men, and so we spent a lot of time trying to educate people as we've been going along the way, but also educate the legislators about the need to take a look at that issue and do something better for getting your PSA tested for men.
So what age should men start being tested? Because I know that they keep on changing everything for mammograms for women.
Well, my feeling is, because the aggressive prostate cancer, I think it typically hits the younger guys. I think it should be the same standard of care as women in men that have, that have a family history of prostate cancer. Also, the African American community has hit harder with the aggressive and prostate cancer. I think at 40, you should start getting tested. Because if you can get it at stage 1, it's pretty, it's pretty curable. They can manage it. So I feel at 40, for those that have a family history in African American Asian community, they should start getting tested yearly.
Okay, yeah, because Vince Flynn was in his 40s, wasn't he?
He
when
was,
he
yeah.
was
Yep.
diagnosed? Yeah.
And he only lived, about 1.5 years after his diagnosis?
Yeah.
Vince Flynn died at 47.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think it was about 3
The sad
years.
thing is, the sad thing is that if you don't have any symptoms, by the time you have symptoms, it's too late. And so, Scott's story is, we had just been married a couple months, and I said, hey, we're in our 50s. It's the time at life where you need to have a physical and just get regular checkups. And my very athletic husband that was very active and felt great was like, I don't need to go to the doctor. I'm like, no, you really do. it's the stage in life. But we were both completely shocked when it came back that he had aggressive prostate cancer. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, I was just saying go to the doctor because it's the thing to do. I wasn't expecting bad news.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at what happened. You did it. He did it, and thank God you did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, thank goodness. He did it just so that I would quit pestering him because he knows I could be a pest.
Not you.
Pretty well, but she can definitely be persistent.
No,
I
not
like
like
that.
Catherine.
Persistent is better
Yeah,
than
very
being
persistent.
a pest.
Would you mind talking about your son a bit, because he's been referenced before, but how old was he when you lost him?
He was 25 years old.
25.
Yeah, he was 25 years old. He, growing up, he was always, a real quiet kid. And I always worried about him. I have 4 kids, and I always worried about him more than the other ones. He's kind of socially awkward, pretty quiet. And so, I always worried about him. And then he went into the military, and that seemed to do him a lot of good.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the routine helped him, and he seemed to be doing good. And then he got out of the military, and my feeling is that that's when he went to the VA, and he knew something, he had something, and he was diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was on that medication for schizophrenia, and the side effects, for young guys are not good. And so he went off the medication, and that's when he committed suicide. And but a sweet kid for sure. And for any parent, that's it's tough. It really is. So you feel like that you should have did something, or you could have did something, or stuff like that goes through your head. And I think for everybody in the family as well. So it's definitely devastating, but really a good kid for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I asked you that, my father was schizophrenic as well, and it is a true. Maybe the hack master Doc is in studio. Schizophrenics tend to be rather intelligent, don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are, and they just, you either take the medication or not. And if you don't, and many people who take it don't like the effects or don't like the changes that they're experiencing.
Yeah, compliance is extremely
Oh,
low
yeah.
because of the side
Really
effects.
hard, and yeah, it's a catch-22 certainly for the medications. Yet people that are on them are fine, and when they're off them, many of them are homeless. A large part of our population have severe mental illness. That isn't cared for, or they choose not to have it cared for. It's terrible.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, like, the medication helps with the schizophrenia for sure. I mean, they get better, but then the side effects are so bad,
Yep.
causing ED, especially in young men that are in their 20s. I mean, they don't want that, and so, and other side effects as well. And so then they go off it, and then I think schizophrenia gets psychotic episodes, and that can last, a short period of time, or it can last a long period of time. And my feeling is that he decided he couldn't live with that. So.
And there could have been an element of bipolar in that as well.
Yeah.
And that's the acid combination. When you have a schizophrenic with a bipolar, the medications also reduce their manic phase, which feels really good, but the trade-off are those depressive phases, and you get a bad depressive phase, get thrown off a little bit, and you just make a bad decision.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. Yeah.
Sad.
God, what a world it is, huh? That's pretty amazing. I want you, Scott, I want you to do me a favor, because I'm going to try to talk Catherine into coming up there on June 15th, coming up to Park Rapids and being there when you cross the line. What do you think?
Absolutely. I'm going to spray my face with water and pretend that I've been going hard for a long time.
Going hard for the whole deal.
I'll collapse at the finish line.
Collapse right there, yeah. But here's what I want you to do.
Okay.
Very quickly, here's what I want you to do. Catherine and I'll be standing there at the finish line, and as soon as you cross, Scott, I want you to go, "Is that it?"
I'll
I had
do
another
it.
10,000 miles in me. No problem.
10,000 miles. So what? That was
No
it, huh?
problem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's like a touch too on Itasca State Park. And I'm born and raised in Minnesota. Lived here my whole life, and so I've been almost all the state parks. Itasca State Park, I think, is the best state park in Minnesota. So,
That's beautiful. It
Minnesota's
is.
gorgeous. Northern Minnesota, particularly, is
It's the
incredibly gorgeous.
headwaters of the Mississippi.
the
Indeed.
headwaters. Yeah.
The headwaters. So we got to have you back in studio once you get back in town in June, July, somewhere. Whenever it's convenient for you, we'd love to have you back in studio. I know that.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to do it.
You know, it's so wonderful talking to people like the two of you. Look at what you've been through. I mean, and it seemed like it, for an outsider, it seems like it all just came down on you at one time. I mean, I'm sure there was a bit of separation, but my God, you went through a personal hell there for a while.
Oh, without question. Yeah, and I rely on faith. I think that's that helps you get through stuff like that and helps you to move on in a positive way. So.
All right, we got to talk again because it's my God, you got March, April, May, and you got 3.5 months left to go, and the party's over. My God, that's amazing.
Yeah, he's got one more trip back. We've got one more trip back to Minnesota to go to the Mayo Clinic again in April. I think we mentioned before the cancer is growing again. So we've been joking he has to bike faster to stay ahead of whatever the cancer and the next treatment will be.
God.
So he's putting the miles in to make sure he can get this done before they have to do something to him again to push back on the cancer.
Do you both know how important it is what you're doing for human beings? Stepping up front like this and going, look, we lost our son. My husband is ill. I mean, you're just standing up going, well, you know what? I'm not going to sit in a chair and mope. I'm going to ride a bike around the United States. I'm going to prove how much I loved my son. I mean, you're a hell of a family, and you should be honored at the highest level.
Well, that's kind of you to say, but I'll say both Scott and I have talked about how we are actually truly impacted and honored by the people along the way that have been sharing their stories with us. It touches our hearts. I mean, because we've got the logo on the side of the camper and Scott's passing cards out and I do, each day that we're out there, we're always hearing from people that are saying, hey, this happened to me, either with regards to prostate cancer or schizophrenia or losing a child. I mean, just when Scott was biking a couple of days ago, a gentleman came up and said, he lost his daughter to suicide, and they sat there talking. I was actually watching for Scott to come on I keep a tracker on him, so I always know where he's at. And he was stationary for the longest time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Is something wrong? Well, it turns out he had stopped to talk to someone, and that person had shared their story. So it was actually a really good reason that he wasn't moving.
Yeah, and he needed to talk to someone, so that was good for sure. So.
All right, you said June 15th is the day you finish the ride?
Yes.
Yep.
Saturday, June 15th.
Oh, it's a Saturday, so we can be there. Let's not forget, the second you cross, that's it. It'll be wonderful.
That's it. I got it.
All right, we'll talk to you soon, and we'll see you in June.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Take care and be careful, for God's sake.
Wonderful. Thanks so much.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
And sometimes don't you wonder, does God keep have to kicking me in the crotch here? Or what? Really?
Yes.
Well, unfortunately, once you have stage 4 cancer, it's very, very uncommon to not have stage 4 cancer. It's with you.
Does stage 4 mean that it's gotten out of the prostate caps?
It means it's spread to other organs.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And once that happens, it's extremely difficult to treat.
The horse is out of the barn. I mean, that's the scary thing. But some people live for years.
Yeah, we're getting to a point
situation.
where certain types of stage 4 cancer have 5-year survival rates of
really
70%. It's crazy.
Yep.
Well, it also is, depending on how they're treating you and how much you have to go to the doctor and how you feel with the treatments and all of that, it it's still not a
Well, yeah, you
not a
still have to
dance
do a lot
party.
of chemo and radiation
Yeah.
and just all sorts of other things. I don't know how he
Yes.
has the energy to even get on a bike.
Well, he's
much less-
motivated
Yeah, it seems.
big time.
It seems like long distance for 3 months. He's going to drive. He's going to ride all the way
Well,
from.
he hasn't been going solid, right? He's had to like go up to the Mayo.
Yeah, he had to go to his check-ins.
Yeah, for check-ins and treatments and things like that. So
But he's going to do every mile of the trip.
he's going to do every mile of the trip.
Yeah.
He's not doing it in succession.
Oh, and consecutive. Well, it's still in 3 months. It seems like a long way to go from where he is in Southern California all the way north.
Yeah.
Along the
Maybe.
north. That seems like.
I guess once you get up the Rockies, it's all downhill from there.
Oh, that's true. It's true. That's right. Once you can pass the Continental Divide, it's all downhill.
Yeah, all downhill from there.
You can coast. It'll be wonderful.
Yeah.
Imagine that, though. I mean, when you wake up every morning, none of that is gone. It's all still right there with you every morning.
Well, maybe that's why he rides, as he can, like have an out of body experience. You know?
We look at our family. I'm looking at all 4 members of my family right now, sitting in studio talking. One of our best friends of our family, Ralph, is here with us. I mean, look at how fortunate we really are that we don't have anything like that in our lives.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
my brothers do, but
That's true.
yeah, we haven't gone unscathed.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
But you haven't lost anybody.
What's the statistic, Ralph? It's like if you make it to 90 years old, you have what % chance of having had cancer in your life? It's like nearly 100%.
Oh yeah, it's very high.
Yeah.
And, particularly men. Men got it. You got the prostate cancer.
Yeah, once you get old enough, you will have cancer. Your dad, Mom, probably had some sort of cancer. It's just he was so old.
Well, he had melanoma. He had all kinds of skin cancers.
Yeah, there you go.
He had a ton of prostate problems, but they never diagnosed him with cancer.
Right.
Oh, I see Tim's checking in.
Tim is here.
Timothy.
Hello. I coming in on a real cheery subject. It sounds like.
Hey.
Talk about stage 4 cancer, Tim.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Yeah.
We just had
we know?
we just had Scott. He pronounces it Freetag apparently, not Freitag.
Okay.
We had Scott Freetag on, and he has stage 4 prostate cancer, and he is biking across the country to raise funds for research. And how many miles has he said he's biked?
7,000.
7,000 something.
Oh,
And also schizophrenia. He had a son that sadly committed suicide and was diagnosed with schizophrenia. So he's raising awareness and money for those 2 causes.
He's biked 7,000 miles. When I have to drive 50 miles, I'm like,
You get whiny? You get a little whiny?
Flatters after that.
I know.
I really do appreciate people like Scott, you say? Scott, good on you. That is, by the time I had an opportunity to talk with Olivia Newton-John, it was about her biography. And I know, Tom, you had talked with her a couple times.
Yeah.
But, obviously by that point, my wife, Patty, had gone through breast cancer. So it wasn't about the music. It wasn't about the movies so much. I was just so thankful to get an opportunity to talk with her about raising the awareness of all the things she's done for cancer, for building a wellness center, a cancer center in Melbourne, I think it was. It's just amazing to me how people take tragedy and somehow turn it around and do good for people.
Yes.
When again, they could just retreat, and and I wouldn't blame them if they did. So the fact that Scott and people like Olivia Newton-John did that, and Scott's doing it, I just admire people like that.
No doubt about it. It takes some, like I said, every morning when you wake up, I'm sure the first thing you think of is, I've got stage 4 cancer and my son's no longer with us.
Oh,
Every
God,
morning.
Terrible. It's terrible.
Yep. We don't go through that kind of thing. It's an amazing story, no question about it.
Yep.
So I can always tell when a story hits me because my voice is right here.
Yeah.
And I can always tell when my
It's
voice
tough,
sounds
man.
like this, it's like, oh my God, I just felt like I got kicked in the store.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for people. It's unbelievable. So, what?
The store?
Right in the store.
Oh, yeah.
Store, yeah.
Exactly.
Store. You know what the store is?
I thought you, Tommy. I've heard you say before, kicked in the seeds.
Seeds,
In
yeah.
the
I
seeds.
thought you were going to say that.
I've been saying that since I was a kid, and probably
Yeah.
before that too.
Special time.
Or the wedding tackle. That's sort of British.
Deciding that
Oh, there you go.
to change things up a little bit.
Bits
Going with
and
the
bobs.
store. The store works fine.
I wonder
It's
across
true.
human history how many euphemisms for testicles there
I
have been.
mean,
Oh,
Has
well,
to be
well,
like
think
10,000.
about boobs. How many there are for boobs?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Remember-
read some of Shakespeare's work, and
God,
sometimes
yeah.
things you'll read don't really make a whole lot of sense. 50% of the time, it's because he's making a euphemism for genitalia.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
You'd be like, "What does that mean?" And then you look at the footnotes, and it's like, "Oh, he's talking about a penis right there." It's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
"Oh,
That tricky Billy Shakespeare, I'm telling you.
mhm."
That's right.
One of my favorites of all time, a friend of mine's father was telling me he was at a Twins game. He goes, God, Tommy, I tell you, you should have been there because guy at the plate hits a line shot, hits the pitcher right in the grapes.
Oh,
Grapes. Yeah.
oh.
Right in the grapes. I was like, oh, okay. All right. That sounds good. No question.
Wear that
So-
cup.
Yeah. Yo, you got to wear a cup. There's no doubt about that. So, Timmy, what's the latest in your business?
Well, I'm very excited because just last Friday I started writing for Forbes.
I saw that. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Big shot.
yeah. Well, it's it's been a long road, and you get experience and you find the right people and you get connected with the right people, and it was a process. I mean, interviews and stuff and getting vetted and all that sort of stuff. And
Mhm.
now I am officially a Forbes contributor, and I just published an Oscar prediction piece for them yesterday.
Uh-oh.
Oh, and we can say we knew you went.
No. I am not going anywhere. You people are my family. We're on the
Yay.
family podcast. Come
Yay.
on.
See?
Part of the family."
No,
That's exactly
seriously
it.
though. I mean, so yeah, it's really really exciting, and to do an Oscar prediction piece for them, and has everybody in studio seen Oppenheimer? Because obviously,
I have.
Oh, I have
Yep,
not.
we have. I talked him into it, and he liked it.
Oh, I thought it was really good.
It was
Yes.
too
Yeah.
long. Too long.
Well,
It's too long.
most movies are, and the next
Mhm.
opportunity I get to talk with Christopher Nolan, I have to ask him. I mean, would you ever consider putting an intermission in your film? Because
Right.
Yeah.
Scorsese didn't do that for Killers of the Flower Moon, and not here, but overseas, some theaters took the initiative to do it themselves,
That's what I
and
heard.
the studio found out, and they were not happy
Yeah, they throw
because
fits
that
about
interfered with. But the interesting thing about that movie is, it is broken up into different sections, so I think there would be a logical place to do it, and then so I think that's something that really they're going to have to address, because
stuff.
I think it'd only be beneficial to theaters, and the theaters are keeping those guys in business.
Well,
Sell some concessions.
and
Let
when you're
people do what
watching
they have to.
a film and they've got a 2-minute walking to a building sequence, it's like, why?
Right.
You could
Suspense.
just, all this stupid stuff could just be edited down and
Yeah.
cut
There's
a half
lot
an
of that.
hour off.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, and the problem is, if you hadn't seen the film prior to that, it's always a guessing game. Okay, how long are they going to be walking? Are they going to be
Right.
walking 2 minutes? Are they going to the bathroom?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the sort of, it's like you're rolling the dice.
Yeah.
And I had to do that for Dune 2 last week, because Dune 2 is a 2-hour and 36-minute
Oh,
movie.
that's
Yep.
a slog.
And as I was walking to the bathroom, I mean, I turned around and something dramatic happened. I was like, so then I stopped and I watched. But so, Ralph, are you going to see Dune 2? I know you weren't a fan of the first one.
Well, who plays Fade?
I know her name. She was
A
in.
woman? It's a woman?
Oh,
Let's see.
well,
here.
wait. No. I was thinking of something
Fade-
else. I was thinking
Fade-
Leah.
Fade is the protagonist to the main character.
I thought you were.
Timothy Chalamet.
Fade is Austin Butler.
Okay.
Yes.
The guy who
Not
played
a woman.
Elvis.
Yeah. I thought you said, because I'm deaf, I thought you said Faye.
No.
Ah,
That's why
Hey.
I was thinking Leah
Hey.
Seydoux is in the film, and she was in the last James Bond film. That's why I thought the character you were talking to. Fade, yes, that's Austin Butler, who looks nothing like he did in Elvis. His head he's completely bald and he's pasty. I don't know if it's because of the lighting.
That's a character.
White.
No, that's a character.
Yeah.
That's a character, and that's the makeup consistent with the world they come from.
a mole
Yes.
man.
Ultimately polluted. There's no sun. I mean, it just goes on and on and on.
Like the House Harkonnen.
Yeah, that's right.
The Baron
He's-
Harkonnen is.
He's that from that house, and he is the nephew of the Baron. Now,
Yeah.
the Baron doesn't have, but the Baron only has one child, and the only child that the Baron has is the mother of Paul Atreides,
Oh, okay. Yes. Yes.
because
And
Baron is gay.
oh, okay. Well, I did find that out. I mean, obviously, these are the sorts of details I don't know going in, and I think that this is one of those movies. The first one I got through okay, but this one I was struggling with the little plot details and nuances and different things that clearly Denis Villeneuve, excuse me, French Canadian filmmaker, he clearly paid attention to what was going on in the book for this. This was his opportunity to really dig into it. And that's why a lot of people are really liking this film. I thought it was spectacular on all fronts, with the main exception of, you know what? I probably, if I read the book, I would had a better grasp on what was going on.
Oh no! You have to read a number of the books to get the grasp, because it's sort of the genealogy and all of the particulars of that they're over these volumes of these books, 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 of these books.
Well, so is Dune Part 2? Is it Part 2 of the novel Dune?
Yes. That's
So
correct.
they split the novel Dune
That's
into 2
correct.
movies. Okay, I see.
That's
Right.
correct.
And they stayed
probably-
true
Sorry,
to they stayed true to the novel, because half the time, if you read the novel and you watch the movie, you're like, it's basically not even the same
Yep.
story.
Yeah. Well,
Some
and
argue it's faithful, and others argue it is not faithful.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
you can't ever please everybody, but I will say it makes sense to have split this one into 2. It was a trick that they were doing in Hollywood for a while. Oh, Twilight, Part 1, Part 2 of the last book. I mean, it was happening a lot to
Yep.
the point where people are
Harry
getting
Potter.
tired of it. Harry Potter, they did it, but again, that made sense because I thought that last book was
Well,
like
Deathly
several
Hallows
last-
is like
The last book is
it has to have been like
3 inches
something
thick.
some
4
hundreds of
inches thick.
pages long. Let's see. How long?
700 pages?
700.
Well, it
Let's see.
depends on the point size.
600
It-
pages.
600. Yeah, I was
Well,
like, it's going to be around 7. Yeah.
1,200 if you're an old person.
The large print version.
Yeah.
Harry
You got
Harry Potter and the Legible Hallows.
There you go.
yeah, so it
listening.
makes sense. Are you going to see it then? Because I know you didn't like the first one.
I just, it was, I don't know, it just seems so.
Well, you
I
saw
don't know.
part 1, right?
I saw
Yeah.
the original one in 1984, and it was so visceral and so gut wrenching.
What's the thing about the 80s is gritty and
Yeah.
visceral was very in.
Yes.
These days, it's really not.
And this is I found it kind of boring because they didn't have that. There's no emotion to it. So,
Dune is a very
see.
gritty book. That's for sure.
That's right. It
And
is.
that's real. That's not really like. There's a lot of like pseudo grit out there right now.
Pseudo
But
grit.
audiences seem to be so sensitive to things that make them uncomfortable
Mm.
that what they do is they take real grit and they kind of like sand it down and replace it with swear words.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not too many. I'm trying to think if there's any swear words in this. There's a PG-13 film, I can tell you that.
Well, that's
Yeah.
because of the violence, I think.
Only
Yeah.
PG-13 for Doom. Wow.
Yeah. And again, not having not read the book, I couldn't tell you what sort of brutality or whatever they cut out. But no, it was a PG-13 film, and so they want the largest audience possible. You know,
Yep,
It's a
that's
smart
true.
move. You know,
But I don't know. Is it though? I guess
think
Dune,
so.
the book is so old that you can't really bank on that audience being your primary draw.
No,
You
oh,
need
not
to
at
get
all.
new
That's
audiences
right,
into
right.
it
You
because
can't- you
I
can't.
mean, when did Dune come out? Like 70 something?
Oh yeah, or before that.
64. 65.
Was it
No,
60?
is it that long ago?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. It's
sure.
an old. That series is an old book.
Yeah, it is 65. Okay, I was 10 years off.
Frank Herbert has been long gone, 30 years, 40 years maybe.
And then you have his estate in charge, and that's where you run into problems too. I know there were some issues with Tolkien's estate when they were doing the Lord of the Rings, and then
Yep.
when they were doing the Hobbit, and then Rings of Power on Amazon. I mean, yeah, you're always going to get tangled up in those issues with the estate. So, yeah, it kicked butt at the box office, that's for sure.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful because people they wanted to see the sequel. No, it would be the sequel to the first one, and I'm sure it closes a lot of circles. Does it leave an opening for another sequel so they can do the next book? Yeah. I tried to read the next book, and man, I couldn't get through it. It was awful.
Yeah,
really. Well, it really comes down to how much money did they spend, and are they going to make it back?
That's right.
It's impossible these days to make money back.
Yeah,
it really is.
Just as a sort of a spoiler, Paul Atreides turns into a jerk. That's kind of
his demeanor changes towards the end of this film.
Yeah,
and there's a betrayal. Well, again, I don't want to get too much into it, but again, the sorts of things that I didn't see coming because I hadn't read the book.
Right.
So yeah, his demeanor changes. So yeah, and that just again opens up this whole new world for the film, because again, I didn't expect him to behave that way.
And I think so few people have read the sequels to the first book that they can go off and they can create their own world now. They could easily just do a different story, have other stories. They were talking about doing one about the Bene Gesserit women. There was one doing one about the Guild. So they can do these side stories that are unrelated to the books themselves, and and explain a lot of the background of the movie. So, yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I actually have to say again, I saw this on the monster screen, actually.
Monster.
It's not an IMAX screen, but Monticello has a monster screen, and it is a monster. And yes, it really is one of those that you have to see. I can't imagine what it's like in IMAX, which is probably even bigger. So yeah, it's one of those films you have to see in theaters, I think.
Yeah.
You know that I've never read Dune, never seen Dune. I know nothing about Dune.
It's not your kind of thing.
Oh, it's not.
It's
sci-fi. You don't like sci-fi.
If you don't care for sci-fi, it's not your thing. It's one of those stories. It's as complex as the Lord of the Rings, as complex as the Ring Cycle in opera. Okay. It's just this intricate, bizarre, perverted, in many ways, story, and it's just weird.
Isn't it funny how people, obviously Stephen King too, with It, I think, got into some really weird stuff that they obviously
sure did. People don't know.
They didn't put in the movie, and you wonder, in the age of cancellation, it's amazing Stephen King didn't get canceled for some of the weird stuff in It.
God, yeah, people don't know how gross that book got.
Yeah. Well, it's the Bene Gesserit group, the witches had their whole life was using spice in a breeding program.
Yep.
Oh my God.
To breed Paul Atreides, someone like Paul Atreides with those traits. Whereas the Guild, they use spice for mathematics, and both of those, the Bene Gesserit witches were sororal, and the Guild is fraternal. So you have this split of male, female, two different programs and everything. It's just a weird.
Yeah. Stuff. Well, and to point it out too, I mean, Paul Atreides is he's the chosen one. He's a Messiah.
Yeah.
So that's why.
And that's right. It's a messianic story. That's in that. Right. And once you put that in there, well, okay, there, he's the savior, and it goes on, and there's all these. There's Frank Herbert's commentary on religion in the books and in the movie and in the story, certainly. So.
Sure. So has anybody checked out any new series? I saw one on Max last night, and I have to say I'm mystified at how this was how it got the green light. It's called The Regime. The Regime with Kate Winslet. a comedy, a satire that, okay, American Fiction is a great satire. It just works. It just, you can, but
wonderful.
this one, it's awkward and uncomfortable, and they're trying to be funny, and it's just crickets, and oh my God. And maybe towards the end of the first episode, because there's only one episode available right now, then it kind of got a little interesting. But I'm thinking, oh my God, yeah, if you got Kate Winslet involved and she's an executive producer or producer on it, I mean, yeah, you get it done. But oh my, and I wasn't alone. My wife watched it with me, and we were like looking at each other like, are we supposed to laugh here? I mean, what? It's just one of those deals that just leaves you mystified. It's like, who green lights some of these things? But again, maybe it'll get better. I don't know.
What's the regime? Where's it based? I mean,
Well, she is a leader of a country in the middle of Europe that they do not name. And she's eccentric, and she's a germaphobe. And, half of the episode, she has a guy walking with some sort of device to measure the humidity in the air. It's just supposed to, what it kind of felt like? It kind of felt like, who's the guy that does all the quirky stuff? At first it was Coen Brothers, but the guy that did the Grand Budapest Hotel and all those films, what is his name?
His name is something. Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson. It's like that sort of quirky. And I've never really been a huge fan of Wes Anderson stuff.
Yeah.
Germophobia. Too soon after the pandemic. Too soon.
Yeah. Well,
too soon.
And there's, but it does come into play as part of the story. And then once that's revealed why, then it's like, okay, it's starting to break loose a little bit. But, you need to grab an audience right away. I mean, you can't be sitting there and turning your back on them and trying to leave them to try to figure out what's going on for most of your first episode. A lot of people will have checked out by that time.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I obviously I love stuff like the Capote versus the Swans and different things like that just instantly grab you, and it's going to be a great series. And in here, you're just kind of left swinging in the wind. You just really don't know where things are going to go.
I understand that. Alex, why were you darkening your screen?
Fawn came in the room.
Fawny?
I didn't want her on camera.
I understand. Fawny, say hi, hi, Fawn for me.
They don't have school today because their school's a polling place for the
Oh.
primaries.
Right, it's
that's
Super
right.
Tuesday, isn't it?
How many states is it again today? Like 20?
20, yeah, something.
I gotta go vote though.
No. What's going on in Minnesota?
I have
mean,
no idea.
I'm like, who's even on the ballot?
What's with the caucus? So we got a caucus, and then we got a primary. What matters? Well, I don't quite understand.
I don't either.
Before the caucus, the caucus would just go and do whatever they wanted to do, and you had no input into it. But now you're going to have a primary. Does that influence the caucus at all? We're going to go on and do whatever they want?
I don't know. I'm just confused too. And I didn't think that Minnesota was always a part of Super Tuesday. Didn't they just join or merge into that space not too long ago?
Joe says 16 states for Super Tuesday.
It's only 16. I thought it was more than that.
I thought it was 20 something. I thought it was like 21, 22.
That's what I thought too.
Weird. Well, I mean, that sort of stuff shifts around. Remember how much pride was it Iowa that we're the first in the country, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they jockey for positions, and New Hampshire's one of the first ones too, I think. But oh yeah.
Well, it's kind of pointless. We kind of know who the candidates are going to be.
Yeah,
yeah.
Although, isn't Minnesota calling to put a no candidate in? They don't want Joe Biden on the
undecided or whatever thing they're doing.
Yeah. Another state did that. In Michigan, I think.
What are they doing?
They don't want anybody to actually put Joe Biden as the candidate.
It's none of their business. When are we going to learn? This is a country. We're supposed to be in this together. There were two guys, and again, I'm not getting political here, but there were two guys on the far left that want to keep going after Trump, even though the Supreme Court ruled 9-0. It's the Supreme Court. you don't get a voice after that, right? I mean, the Supreme Court made the decision, shut up.
Everybody should be happy about the decision because that means that I can't go after your candidate to keep them off of the ballot. I mean, this is actually protecting the democracy that they keep saying is under attack all the time.
It's got to stop. It really does.
Yeah, well, they're working right now on some new laws to make it so that he can't even become president at all.
Oh, God.
As soon as they had that decision, they started working on something else.
So the Supreme Court doesn't get the final word anymore. That makes no sense to me at all.
Supreme Court justices on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The Supreme Court basically ruled that you can't remove someone from a ballot because you think that they're going to become a felon in the future.
Right.
Which is such an obvious ruling that all of them unanimously said, yes, this is dumb and you can't do that.
See,
Go ahead.
Once again, though, people actually think that Trump was indicted and convicted for being an insurrectionist. This never happened.
Never happened.
But people think that it did. So they're all like, well, how can you have somebody that is an insurrectionist become president? Because they're misinformed all of the time. And I don't know who's telling people this stuff.
Well, you don't need to tell them that. You juxtapose things. Juxtapose things. So they have the report about Trump, and then immediately afterwards they have the trial of one of the conspirators for the insurrection. Oh, it's juxtaposed. It's newspaper. Hey, you newspaper people, you're doing it. I'm pointing right at you. I'm pointing right at you, Mr. Lammers.
I'm online. Newspaper. No, what I was going to say before is, Andy, you got a good idea for a Minority Report reboot. To see if political candidates will be criminals in the future, because that is an interesting movie and series if you ever see Minority Report, where they predict crimes, right?
Right.
Have you seen it? Tom Cruise was in a movie version.
I don't think
then
I
there was a
ever saw
Fox television show that didn't last long, but it's an interesting concept, that's for sure.
Sci-fi.
I really wish we would get back to a point where Americans had to follow American law and American rules. You don't get your own take at it. Look, there are not a lot of politicians I'm wild about anyway, and I don't care which side you're talking. There are some I like, some I don't like. But for a guy like Eric Swalwell to step up and try to, are you kidding me? This guy's banged everything that comes near him.
I know.
Well, he's popular.
He's popular. Yeah. With who?
So.
I would like to know.
Chinese spies.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, Chinese spy. Was it a Chinese woman that he was dating? I think.
Fang or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. It was Fang. That's right. But we have laws. We have a Supreme Court. We have presidents. We have. I'm sorry, but the Supreme Court gets the final word. So shut up.
And again, you pointed out too that this can affect both sides.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Time.
Well, that's the thing. It's like what people don't realize is, okay, we have these states saying that you can charge someone with pre-crime and they can't be president at that point. Once that's on the books, that is basically law. So from now on, anyone can say, oh, yeah, this guy's definitely, he's going to become a criminal in the future. Get him off the ballot. The reason the Supreme Court was so unanimous was because that's such an obviously bad idea for everyone.
Right.
Because they could do the same thing for Biden immediately. They could have said, oh, yeah, the Hunter Biden stuff, he's definitely a criminal. Get him off the ballot.
Yep.
And then the next guy who replaces him, probably Kamala or something. Oh, she'll do something in the future. Get her off the ballot.
I know.
Back when politics were civil. Do you remember that?
No.
Were they ever? I mean,
they were civil for a very, very brief period in the 1900s, I think.
I don't know. I mean, I just don't think we had as much information as we do now.
That's the whole issue. Yeah. That and fake information.
Right.
I mean, just it's like, looking on and it got to the point where publications were reporting on it. Just some guy out of the blue. I mean, this is Minnesota Vikings who were saying about how the Vikings were going to trade Justin Jefferson for a bunch of draft picks.
Right.
And then somehow that boiled up from just a total BS tweet into a news story for some outlets.
Yep.
Just because some guy flat out lied about Justin Jefferson being traded.
Yeah.
So again, it's just amazing how influential, I hate to think it, but it's true. Anybody can just say anything online and maybe it's a slow news day or whatever, and all of a sudden, hey, Justin Jefferson's getting traded for a bunch of draft picks, and people believe it.
That's right.
They do indeed. Look, I've voted for Democrats. I've voted for Republicans. I've voted for independents. I am not one of these people that ever understands because it's the party I belong to. It's the only way to go.
That's the way my dad voted.
It's
Okay, well,
ridiculous.
I'm going to go on record right now. Man, it is two crappy choices.
Not the greatest choices of all
Both
time.
sides. Oh, I'm holding my nose on this one. I have no idea. Ugh. Really, I have no. I don't know what to do. I simply don't know what to do. They're just such old people. Why are people so many old people?
Yeah. They have no stake in the future is the thing. It's like, what's Biden or Trump care what happens to this country 20 years from now? They'll be dead.
Yeah.
So why would we put them in charge of steering the future of the country?
Where's the young voter who says, "Hey, no, let's get some young person up there. Let's get somebody, younger."
Well, didn't Dean Phillips attempt that though?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Well, it's the system. The system is broken. I mean, the only people that can run are the people that the super PACs put their money behind.
Yep, it's all about the money.
money.
It's all about the money like everything else. All right.
I have a feel-good story.
Oh, we can close with a feel-good story. I like it.
Retired NFL star Braylon Edwards saves the life of an 80-year-old man after he was attacked at a YMCA in Michigan.
Somebody attacked an 80-year-old?
Yeah, Edwards just finished a workout when he heard a thud in the locker room, and he jumped into action when he found a 25-year-old man assaulting an 80-year-old. He was grabbing the guy's back of his neck, and he was going to slam his head down on the counter.
Oh, my
God. And he did a full-body tackle.
Good.
Well, so much for the village people. So
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not really fun to stay at the
It is
YMCA
not.
these days.
there you go.
Don't tell Sage. She loves that.
Braylon
It
Edwards
was-
sounds like Rocco, right, Tommy?
Farmington
Absolutely.
Hills, Oakland County, wherever that is. Sounds
Why
like
would a
California.
25-year-old attack an 80-year-old?
You see
Oh,
this
it's
stuff
tough
on
guy.
the internet all the time. You see
I mean,
just,
tough guy.
people walking by people and just smashing them in the head for no reason. I guess that's a thing now. Just everyone's angry.
I'm not.
I know,
I'm the
but
happiest guy in the
I thought
world.
this was a nice story.
It is a great
Because
story.
the NFL gets a lot of
It's
attention for
partially-
violence and drug
partially nice.
problems.
Sad, terrible, and nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice that somebody did something
Yes.
for an old person instead of just watched it and took a
Oh,
video
I
of
can't
it
imagine.
and
I
posted
can't
it.
imagine somebody not doing something about that, but I would imagine that
Most people
happens.
I'm
wouldn't.
surprised.
Yeah, it's
Well,
like
I don't know if I would, because I don't know if this guy, the guy is trying to murder an 80-year-old, so he's already clearly violent and unhinged. I don't know if he has a gun or a knife or something like that. I don't know if tackling him is going to make him just pull a weapon and kill me.
Well, I think
Is my life worth saving a stranger's life? I would argue no.
it was in the
Good on
shop.
Braylon Edwards for doing it, man.
Yep.
But there's a lot of stories about people doing that exact same thing and getting killed doing it. So
Yeah, it
I don't
can
know.
happen.
But it was in the shower, and I'm reminded of the military chant that young men are required to do in front of a mirror that says, "This is my rifle. This is my gun. This is for killing. This is for fun."
Yep.
So it's the kind of thing. They were in the locker room. So
Well, there's still at least one place you can hide a gun.
yeah. Well, no.
Andy,
Boy, look at the time. We'd love to stay and schmooze.
Andrew Anthony.
What?
All right.
You never heard of prison smugglers? It's a thing.
there's some things I just choose not to think about.
Yeah. a lot of things.
YMCA.
Go away, all of you. That's all I have to say.
Go home.
That's
Talk
going
to
to
you
do it.
Friday.
Talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.
Got a picture in my noggin reminds me of this one was before. Every time I get the same reminds me how you talking.